Now, as we just saw before the break, social media has changed the way that people consume news, where in the past audiences could only receive news from newspapers, radio or television. Well, nowadays, with the help of the internet, people can get instant information from news applications, subscribe, email, as well as social media. This evolution of technology has now allowed anyone with a cell phone, computer, tablets, voice recorders and any other portable device to play an active role in the processing of collecting and reporting, analyzing and disseminating news and information. Sometimes they don't even realize that they're doing it. Well, for more on citizen journalism, its role in society and rules and regulations, we're joined by two people, King Chauke from Kincha Media and a broadcast specialist lecturer at the Tshamano University of Technology, Tshamano Makhadi. Let's start by greeting you, gentlemen. Welcome. But let me start with you, Tshamano. A lot of people don't realize, actually, that every time that they retweet a news item, they're actually publishing. This is citizen journalism. And when they write about something that's happening around them, this is citizen journalism. But sadly, it has had some poor consequences because of that. Tell us about some of the things that you've been concerned with as you've been watching this unfold.
No, thank you so much, Peter, and good morning to you and all the viewers. Yes, citizen journalism plays an important role, but at the same time, as traditional media, we have been experiencing a couple of problems, challenges here and there, by means of having, some of the content or information having been distorted. So, yes, there are problems, like you rightfully say. I mean, sometimes you have a situation where stories, sometimes even in mainstream, they get to be up there without having been verified. Sometimes coming from citizens themselves, but it is always important, whether it is done by a media house or whether individuals, it is always important to ensure that the facts of that particular story have been certainly verified.
All right. And I guess one of the things that if you are doing citizen media is there are no filters. No one checks what you're doing. And so you may cross lines that you don't even realize that you're crossing, particularly when it comes to sensitive issues like the dignity of a person.
No, that's correct. And these things happen so quick. But by the time you realize it, you actually learn that a big mistake has been made, and sometimes it's issues that involve other people's lives. It might be their career, it might be their health. There are a number of issues that are involved. So I will always caution that whenever it's done, it must be verified. It must be done with caution. And we can all understand that we're living in, new times where it's sort of different from where we were probably a few years back, where ordinary folks, they can simply share information. But in doing so, it is always important that you verify whatever you want to share on the different media, social media platforms, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, but it is quite important that, that is always double checked.
All right. Well, let's talk to someone who's been in the media business for a while, but occasionally tweets on social media and therefore is a citizen journalist. King Chauke, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program. You've tweeted something recently on social media, and it was the case of I think two boys in a classroom, and one was bullying the other. What moved you to post that? Because you did get some feedback from some people as well, didn't you?
I did. Good morning, Peter, and good morning to all the viewers. Definitely, I did get some feedback from different people. Some were threats to say I must delete the video. But above all, it was the reach of the Department of Basic Education to say, can we help them as well to trace the school and the perpetrator? Just to answer your second question, why we posted the video, I saw it trending on WhatsApps and other platforms. And I kept on investigating to see, does the department know about it? And we found that the department didn't know about it. But at the same time, the people that had that information were withholding the information. So we decided to go on a social media platform to say, can you help the police trace this perpetrator? To me, it was a criminal element.
All right. So there are some things that I guess you have to consider, and sometimes people don't. Did you stop for a moment and think, okay, these kids are schoolgoers, they're underage, should I still post this? Is this something that as retweeters we need to think about more?
Peter, you remember crime is a crime. And before even thinking about these are young boys that are still school going, it was a crime. And that crime needed to be brought to light. Whether the platform was right or not, we were not getting the information. And if you look at my tweet, it was to say, please help get this perpetrator to prison. To me, it was just another way of saying, let's get this to the fore.
All right. So, look, we're not pointing fingers at you, but I'm just now asking you to put on the hat of maybe other tweets that you've seen online. I saw one recently of a young girl who was being bullied by another girl, but in this one, it was a bit more graphic, and I felt that by retweeting that video, she was suffering twice. First, by the perpetrator, and then secondly, having her dignity removed because her panties were being pulled away from her. And I just wonder, what are your thoughts about when it starts to get into compromising somebody's dignity? Should we, as retweeters, think about that?
Unfortunately, Peter, you have got different people that retweet video. Some it in a funny way, not sensitizing the matter that you're trying to raise. If you see the people that we also tagged, it was the police and the Department of Higher Education, meaning that our aim was to get the boy being bullied help.
All right. Tshamano, you've heard King Chauke there. A crime was being committed. And he says that he was trying to alert the authorities, and so it was all with good intention. The other video for me was quite disturbing. I don't know if you saw the schoolgirl that was being bullied by another schoolgirl. I thought that that should not have been shown, and as a news broadcaster, we probably would not have shown that. How do we manage this going forward? Because people a lot of times are just tweeting so that they can get followers.
Yeah, so Peter, thanks. And I know that it's a tough balancing act, but maybe just going back to what King refers to. So you have a situation where you simply just want to put a matter to the fore. Now, in some cases, it may include kids. So how do you go about it? But let me just deal with the first point. And I'm almost reminded of the case of police brutality. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of them, but let me just point one. Mido Masia. A story like that, had it not been for somebody who filmed that happening and ultimately putting it either on social media, surely the public was never going to know about something like that. So, of course, it will always boil down to the intention what is it that you want to achieve? So listening to King and everything that he said, so I guess it was a case of trying to get the attention of basic education as well as the police. If it was not because of that, surely nothing was going to be done about it. But yes, there is also an issue which you are raising, and I agree, the dignity of a person. So I think what is more important and what I'm taking out of this conversation is that as tweeters, as people that always share information, let us be cautious of what we, tweet about in the case of, Twitter. So whatever social media platform, let us be cautious of the information we're putting out there. The dignity of other people still matters the most. But as I said, I mean, it's a tough balancing. But one way or the other, we have to find that one.
So what I know for sure is that there are laws in place about what you can show, what you can't show, and people don't realize that when you retweet, it doesn't matter whether you weren't the originator, you become an accessory to that. Do you think, and this is a question for both of you, that greater education needs to happen to warn people, because they can get prosecuted just for retweeting something that they may not have originated? King Chauke, your thoughts?
Very true, Peter. It goes down to what are your intentions when you retweeted the video. And also be cautious of the comments that you're going to put on the video. It reminds me of one of the videos that I'm in possession of a young girl that was stripped naked from school, beaten and made to drink her own urine. I can't share such content. But at the same time, you have to understand what I'm doing with such content. So it is a warning to Twitter users or even social media users. The information that you are disseminating can incriminate you, even though you did not participate in the crime.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Tshamano, we're going to speak to you again a little bit later on when we review the newspapers, so stay with us. But King Chauke, thanks so much indeed for giving us another perspective on this weighty issue of when to tweet and retweet. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, okay. So we'll see Tshamano again a little bit later on in the program, and our thanks to King Chauke there sharing his thoughts with us. Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at what's been on our front pages of our Sunday newspapers here in South Africa. And we're joined once again by Tshamano Makhadi, who's a broadcast specialist lecturer at the Tswana University of Technology, himself a long-time media practitioner. Tshamano, thanks very much again for joining us. Let's take a look at these newspapers. And I know that the City Press caught your attention straight away. Why was that?
That's right, Peter. The City Press caught my attention with their story, which is on the front page, with the headline, "Corrupt List, the cadres rejected." So here is a story that it's mainly coming from the ranks of the ANC. The NEC, a few weeks back, as you would recall, there was this suggestion that members that might somehow be implicated, they may have to step aside from their position, especially those that are holding public offices. So we see a situation here where some members, leaders, in the different provinces, in this case, Northern Cape and MEC, who is basically saying, I am not going to go down without a fight. I am simply going to challenge this in legal terms. So basically the MEC is arguing the fact that the process or the procedure seem to be unfair and unprocedural. So we are definitely just going to watch and see how the ANC is going to manage this one. We know for a fact that when President Cyril Ramaphosa came to office, he came on the card of fighting corruption. So easy going to win this one, but I guess one to watch, really.
And it is a difficult one, isn't it? Because you've got, on the one hand, an integrity commission, which is an internal party process, and that works not necessarily on the law by the name of its, by the fact of its name, integrity. It's bringing the party into disrepute and so on and so forth. And then the party can make decisions about its own members. And I also believe that the people are deployed by the party at the party's behest, and so in theory they should be able to withdraw their services as well. But it seems as if the other sort of law that we are subjected to, proven you're innocent until proven guilty, should be the thing that protects you. So it's a bit of a conundrum, but it's a problem for the party because local government elections are coming up, and the voters are watching this and making up their minds. If they think someone's corrupt and he's allowed to carry on working, it's a problem.
Certainly a conundrum, Peter, because like you rightfully pointed out, on the one hand, you are expected to, you are either guilty until, proven so. So what happens in a situation where these are still allegations? As a party, do you say, step aside? Do you ask somebody to resign? What do you do? And that's exactly the situation at hand here, where somebody is basically saying, but I have not been proven guilty by the court of law, except to say these are, reports that are playing out in the media space. On the one hand, you have the public that have certain expectations about, leaders. So you are right as well to say you have the elections that are coming up. There are people that want to really see, the leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa taking action and not just talk about some of these things. So what do you do? It's certainly a conundrum. I guess one which is really difficult for the ruling party, if I may put it so, Peter.
All right, okay. I know one story that you haven't seen because the Sunday Tribune is a Durban newspaper, but I think one that we can talk about is their headline story is South Africa needs to get used to the new normal as the alert level goes to 1 at midnight. And there is a great fear of a second wave. We've seen it in Europe, we've seen it in America, where there was an easing of the lockdown restrictions, and people didn't carry on doing the things like wearing masks, social distancing, and then there was a second wave. And there is a concern that we might see that here in this country.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a challenge. Obviously, as we all know, I mean, as of tomorrow, should I say midnight, we are going on alert level 1. So I think the emphasis, what we need to get to, the masses here, Peter, is that people must always keep in mind that coronavirus is still very much with us. Yes, indeed, the situation is better compared to where we're coming from, and I mean 6 months ago. So what I think is very important is also to draw lessons from some of those countries that have faced, a situation where this thing all of a sudden sort of resurfaced. Yeah. So we must continue to wear those masks. We must continue to take care of ourselves.
All right. And with that, I'll say to you, take care of yourself, and we chat again soon. Thanks so much indeed, my dear brother.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter.
All right. Okay. So that's how we come to the end of the program. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. It was great having you. And join us again next week at the same time. But remember, it's level 1, yes, But we really have to be even more careful now. And one of those things is wearing a mask. Take care. Bye-bye.